Hi there, my name is Wandering Chef Amy, and I'd like to welcome you to the very first edition of Get Real, which is a wellness journey that I'm along personally, and I'd like to invite you along as well, where we'll take the meat and potatoes ways of what we love about the standard American diet and simply take out the ingredients that aren't doing so well for us as far as the nutritional content and simply replacing that with a better idea. So this is not about perfection. This is not about deprivation. This is about simply finding a better idea for what it is that we love. So for today, for the very first segment, I am, once again, I mentioned this in my previous About Me segments. Today is a focus on kitchen safety, as well as a couple of very, very simple recipes that can be used this weekend for the holiday fun everyone's about to participate in, including lots of barbecues and picnics. So these would be totally appropriate, totally simple, yet cost effective and time convenient, and ultimately just the most delicious version that I've come up with personally. So, and also you can modify them according to what you may already have in your home and simply want to use up, or if you have this secret ingredient that grandma used to use in hers and you want to add it to what I've got going on, that is what this is all about as well. This is about learning how to utilize your kitchen, create your own food, therefore you know what's going in and on your body. We'll get to on your body later, but ultimately, while we're fueling our bodies with positive vibes such as fruits and vegetables, etc., it is helping heal us from the inside out. And so when we are well physically, we can be well mentally. So this is ultimately a journey of wellness in mind, body, and soul. So without further ado, I will continue on with what I have for you today. So as I had said at my little Walmart field trip, you're going to obviously need a few things in your kitchen, and knives being one of those key elements in order to be able to create your own food. So I don't know what you have there at the moment, but you can, make do with what you have. This is what this is about as well. So ultimately what I find is that I use two knives on a consistent basis. This is what I consider my chef knife, and it is a santoku. I don't know how to enunciate that appropriately in Japanese, I suppose is what it is, but see how I have these little grooves here in this knife? That is what helps it sort of slide through like butter. When it's sharp, it is sharp. And so this is my 90% of the time knife. And then I have a paring knife, which is a small guy, and if you feel more comfortable holding this initially, at least, I highly suggest doing so. You do not want to do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, because that is where accidents will occur. So also in the kitchen, to go along with the knife, you must use some sort of board to be able to cut your produce and so forth on. Today I have a wooden board. Now this thing is sturdy. It's very heavy actually. And on the bottom it has some non-slip grips on it, which that's great, but I'm still going to take it precaution even further by I put down a wet cloth on my table to set this upon, so that, oh boy, numerous hands have been cut by not understanding how secure this needs to be, so it does not move on you while you're attempting to cut something and then it slips. Not good. Okay, so then we have that. And one of the recipes that I have for you today is a staple in my household. I don't know about yours, but I absolutely love guacamole. Guacamole, enunciated in other parts of the world. But so I'm trying to keep this very simple for you as well. I'm thinking novice. I'm thinking this is essentially a home ec, so to speak, I'm trying to create it for, 16, 17-year-olds that don't have it in their school system any longer, which is so unfortunate, all the way up to folks that live on their own, and maybe seniors, and quantifying, is it such a great idea for them typically? And so once we get into quantification and meal prep, these are all going to be items that can be frozen most of the time as well. Unfortunately, guacamole I've not had luck with. I don't even honestly think that I've tried to freeze it, but anyhow, without further ado. So, avocados can tend to be expensive, and this is part of what we'll be focusing on probably next segment. I'm going to take you on a field trip to the grocery store, and we're going to talk about how to save money in today's crazy economic world. Inflation has just really sent everything over the top, most especially our groceries. So looking for sales is pertinent, and then also utilizing your coupons and so on and so forth, but we'll get to that as well. But my point is, I found avocados on sale for $1, which is a very, very good deal. So when that happens, I typically buy the hardest of the hard and something that I could use maybe in a couple of days, because I usually have some in the refrigerator already, and I find that that helps keep them from turning so quickly as well. So what I have here, and this is how to test and see if it's ready to be used or not. So sort of like a tomato, you're going to want to squeeze the flesh of the fruit. And so this one here is kind of difficult to see, obviously, but I can squeeze on that no problem, and it's leaving a dent. So this could be overripe, but we'll cut into it and see. This one is giving just enough, so it's not going anywhere, but I can feel a little bit of a give. This one still needs a little bit of time, and then this one is still pretty hard as well. But we'll just go ahead and see. So for today's purpose, I want 2 avocados for what I'm doing with it. And so we'll go ahead and cut into that super ripe one that I was just explaining, and I'm going to use my paring knife on it. And so here's the thing. Avocados are like the #1 reason that people go to the hospital, because they try to stab the pit, and we don't want to do that. So here's the deal. This knife is incredibly sharp, as I mentioned, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put, actually, you're going to keep it on the board. I'm trying to remember that we're starting at the beginning, and we're going to hold it tight because we don't want it to move on us. So we're going to puncture the fruit with the tip of this knife, and then once it's in pretty good, you're going to start giving it a little cut around. You see what's going on there? So I'm giving it a little cut around. I can even feel the pit in there. And then as it starts to move, then I'm going to start moving my fingers. Now don't set it right up on top there, because it could tilt either way. You're going to try and set it on the side once again. And you're simply trying to reach the other side where you started to be able to see that it is cut all the way around. And it looks to be. And then I'm going to twist it. One's going clockwise, one's going counterclockwise, and it should come right off. So twist away. It did. And you can see that it's still a nice ripe avocado. It's not brown. If ever it's brown and you see anything that doesn't look like a beautiful limeish flesh, then you're going to want to toss that. But this one we'll be using. Now, this seed is the big culprit most of the time. Sometimes it'll come out just by the squeeze, because this one is so ripe, it is willing to do that. Actually, I almost just dropped it right out, but I want to show you what to use as far as the knife goes when it won't come out that way. So you're going to set the avocado down, and your fingers are going to be tight again. And you know what? I'm going to use the paring knife just to show that part. And so I'm going to smack down on this seed, not way up here or out of control. I'm going to just smack down on it one little time, keeping my fingers way back here, but still in control, like so. It's in there. See that? Okay. So next we are going to, ooh, Lord, do you see what I'm saying? It just dropped right off of that thing. And then I just about cut myself. Okay, this is all about showing you what not to do, and I just did it. How about that? Well, anyway, this sucker is so ripe that it just totally fell right out, and that part fell off. So anyway, we're not going to use that as what to do. That is totally what not to do. And like I said, you know, no one is perfect, and I'm definitely far from that. So I'm gonna get rid of that and go to this next one that is just about the same ripeness, but I'll do it, and I'll do it a little bit slower, but you'll get the idea of what I'm trying to do here is go around. And so the reason that you want to keep moving your hand is because you don't want to stab your fingers as you're twisting as well. Okay, this one's coming right apart also, which is a good thing. But see that? I didn't even touch it and that bad boy just fell right out. Well, these guys aren't wanting to cooperate with me at all. Okay, so that one, do you see that brownish in there? That's not good. And you can still use it, but I just don't like the look of it. It's not a firm fresh. This is kind of like a mushy look. So we're gonna get rid of that guy. Not having much luck here, am I? Okay, so this one should probably do what I'm wanting it to. All right, so I'm going all the way around again. And okay, there we go. Now, this is wanting to jump right out. See that? And see why this is really dangerous for me right now, but I'm still going to show you because well, I have experience. I just showed you that I have experience in making some mistakes once in a while in the kitchen too, don't I? I'm going to use my big knife just because I feel I have more control. So I'm just going to barely give it a tap to get into it, like so. And then, just showing you, but yes, you want to keep tight fingers. You're going to twist. You're going to do the counterclockwise thing. You're going to twist that out, right? And this is just going to come out like very, very simple. And then a lot of people make the mistake to get rid of this seed by pulling it. That is an absolute no-no. I got my little garbage bowl here. So pretend this is your garbage can. So don't do this because you're going to cut your whole garbage can. But you're going to do it on the end here on the handle part. You're just going to give it a whack and it comes right off. So very simple, but yet dangerous. Unfortunately, I didn't hurt myself, but I could have. All right, so we're going to dig right into this guy and make us some guacamole. So there's a couple different ways to cut it as well, and we'll get into cutting styles such as dicing, chopping, and all of that kind of thing. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking at this guy again. So the safest way to cut an avocado is going to be straight down the middle until you get the groove of things. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to score this guy. And so basically I'm making cubes on it. Like that. And always set your knife somewhere. You're not going to drop it. I'm also doing a no-no on my feet. I don't have any shoes on. So if this thing fell on my foot, guess what? I'm probably going to the hospital, and I've had enough of those. So this is so ripe that I can just simply go like such, and it's going to drop right off. Now I'm going to look behind just to make sure that, you know, guys, I don't even like how this looks. Look at this. It's kind of like mushy. So this one's definitely overripe. This guy's okay though. So we're going to get rid of this one and start over. So like I said, you can cut this. If you don't feel comfortable, you can cut it right down the middle and then just do the score of cube like that. I like my guacamole chunky. I don't like it baby food texture at all. So I'm not going to put too many scores in it. So here, this is going to come right off, and it shouldn't carry any of the back skin with it. And it's not, so that's good. Right in there it goes. So then I'm going to show you real quick a different way after I'll do one more like that. So score it. And then pull them off by the cube. Just like that. I read an interesting thing about avocados in the history. I love culinary history. And of course it was dated back to, actually it was dated back to 500 BC is when they found evidence of the ancient Aztecs in Central America were using it, and their name for the avocado back then. I couldn't even enunciate it if you asked me to for money. Anyway, it essentially meant, this is totally inappropriate, but this is what it meant. It meant testicle. Go ahead, I'll wait. Yes, that's what I said. Testicle. Because of how it looks, and I guess they grow in pairs. So that, my friend, is your avocado history for the day. Okay, back to the matter at hand. I know you'll never look at an avocado the same way ever again. I didn't, so that's why I had to share with everyone I know. You're welcome. Okay, so I'm just going to leave this one whole and show you what I do. Now, if you do choose to do it with the half like such, and you score it, you have to be very, very careful that you're not coming out of the back. So I'm just barely going through and I'm cubing it like that. And this probably would come right off as well. But what I tend to do is I use my big knife, and this just seems faster to me. And I just go through the whole thing around the edges like that. And get all the good stuff out of the middle. And then this guy will actually scrape off because he's so ripe. And these things turn pretty quickly. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that it either takes them forever to ripen up, and you can put them in a brown bag if you need them to ripen faster. And yes, I talk with my knife as I talk with my hands, so that's just part of me. It scares some people. Not my husband though. I don't know. Anyway. So I'm just going to finish this guy up real quick here. And I was reading about, well, the history of the avocado, but then how it went from, they called it an avocado cream, or probably crema. They put like almost a coconut milk in it, which would be good, but they primarily used it as a sauce. And then once it got to Mexico is when evidently it turned into the guacamole as we know it and love it to be. Some people love it and some people really don't. It's just one of those things. Okay, so that's enough to get us started with that. And I always have a towel handy. And I always have a wet towel handy just in case. You never know what kind of mess you're going to make. A tidy kitchen is a must in order for this to be a form of mindset for you. A lot of people say that to them, cooking is hard, it's difficult, and it's frustrating. It doesn't have to be. I'm telling you, if you just come along with me and see what type of purpose creating wonderful food that makes you feel great from the inside out literally changes your DNA. Let food be thy medicine. It helps reset your mind, and you're open to more things, new things that you always thought you didn't like or thought you would never like. So anyway, so this is very simple from here. A lime is a must in my opinion. I'm just going to cut it down the middle. Oh, I did cleanse this, but forgot to take the sticker off evidently. And I do have a garbage bowl. I find this to be easier for me rather than walking to the garbage can, opening it, throw it away. Alright, so I do have a little gadget. Gadgets are fun and they are very useful for when you don't feel like sitting here trying to squeeze the dickens out of this thing. All you have to simply do, put it in a juicer just like so, and then squeeze. Squeeze away. So about a half a lime per, well, I don't really have too full here. Actually, you know what, we're just going to do half a lime for what is just a little bit more than, no, I have 2 avocados. I'm sorry. I'm going to talk to myself out loud while I'm talking to you just because that's how I roll. Sometimes I forget what I do when I'm trying to talk and walk at the same time. I don't know about you. So, there's that. Get rid of my garbage. And then from there, I have some spices. And you can put whatever spice floats your boat in there. But traditionally, I use onion powder, So get you onion powder definitely. I want y'all to start like a little wish list if you're really wanting to come along on this journey, because eventually what's going to happen is I'm going to be doing what I call Sunday dinner. And so, for example, one week we may do, let's just say spaghetti. And then I will tell you at the end of the segment what we're going to do the following week, and I will give you a shopping list. So then the following week, if it's chicken with broccoli, then you'll already have the stuff and you can participate with. So you're going to make sure that you need certain things in your pantry at all times, and I tend to use a lot of the same seasonings over and over again. So onion powder, and then this is a blend of paprika and cumin. Some people do cumin, some people don't. Paprika, same. And these are all about half a teaspoon worth, I think. Let's see, no, maybe about a teaspoon. No, half a teaspoon. I should have measured that out too, but I do things on a whim. It's just part of my nature. Garlic powder in, and then salt and pepper. I do fresh cracked. Just it's fresh and I like it. And the pepper is a coarse grind, and I love coarse ground pepper. But if you want regular salt, regular pepper, go for it. And then lastly, this is a I really love you or I cannot stand your butt. This is cilantro, and this was fresh cilantro, but it was kind of on its way out, so I just simply dried out the leaves. So I'm using dried cilantro in mine. A lot of people think it tastes like soap, and sometimes it does to me and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I have friends who like put a whole truckload of cilantro on their stuff. Let's see, and this is optional as well. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. A lot of my recipes are in my head, and I usually do something one time, and if I like it, I'm like, what did I put in there? Then I'll remake it, and if I really like it, then I'll write it down. That's my procedure. All right, so I put that in, and then most of the time people do onion and tomato and jalapeno. I figured out how to bypass all of that time, all of that chopping, by simply finding a good quality salsa at your local grocery store. And trick, by the way, if you're having a difficult time opening something, hit it on the side of the counter, and it usually will open right up. So that's what I'm going to do this time. So it already has all of those ingredients in there, and this is just it's a cantina style, so it's not super chunky, but it's not super thin. And I'm just going to put a tablespoon-ish worth in there. Another thing, this is going to be a huge deal, is reading the ingredients in food. Oh, there's so few in here that I couldn't even find it initially. And this is what I'm talking about. Tomatoes, tomato puree, citric acid, salt, dehydrated garlic, and spices. Nothing you can't enunciate, nothing that is just, you know you probably shouldn't, but you're going to go ahead and do it anyway. So there are plenty of these at your grocery store. Start reading labels. I'm going to keep beating you over the head with it, so you might as well get used to it, right? And we'll get to that one day soon too. So anyway, everything's in, and all I'm simply going to do now is give it a light mash. Let me see if I can show you. So I'm just going to find the big pieces and give them just a tiny bit of a mash, and then making sure that nothing is too big. That guy right there. And this is why it really does have to be sort of like right in the middle of the road as far as the ripeness of your avocado, because too soft is nasty mushy, and too hard, you are not going to get it to budge whatsoever. So I put just enough salsa in there to give it a little liveliness. And so everything is blended together nicely, and so I'm simply going to take a little bite to see what the seasoning is all about. And you have to remember, this is going to marry the longer it sits, so if you can set it in the fridge for at least a few hours before you're going to your picnic or having people over or whatever, even just before dinner, some night, I suggest doing that because you may want to readjust the seasoning. You know those shows that you watch where, excuse me, the chef will sit there and take the final bite and be like, oh my gosh, this is just the most amazing thing I've ever tried in my life. Don't you wonder if that really tastes just straight up awful? I know I do. Anyway, personally, that is really good. So this is what we're going to do. We are going to take this and we are going to simply put it into a bowl. Slowly, so that it doesn't get all over the sides. And then I have a variety of chips to choose from, and this also goes into that reading the label that I was telling you about. So another example of how it doesn't have to be expensive to eat a better idea. These are organic tortilla chips. So organic is a good thing when it comes to certain things, and corn-based products I definitely recommend because of how they've been, the majority of corn has been treated, they've been sprayed, they have been GMOs, that's just a long story. But anyway, so these are phenomenal and they are on sale only $2.50 a bag. So you can't beat it. So there's that kind if you like the corn-based. I personally try to stay away from grain as much as possible because it is inflammatory, and also this whole Get Real is about my eating style is what I call AIM, and it's anti-inflammatory, intuitive, mindful eating. So this is being mindful, but now that I've had it, I actually intuitively, my instincts would, if given a choice, would pick this over this. Just because it's like my body knows that this is better for me than these would be. I don't know, that doesn't make any sense probably right now, but as we go along, hopefully it will. And then lastly, this is non-traditional, but it is root vegetable chips. And these are so good. I use them in place of regular potato chips all the time anyway, which I don't do very often anyway, because I don't care if they call it a root vegetable, potato, whatnot. It usually has a lot of salt in it, and some of the oils are questionable. Canola oil is really not that great for us, so once in a while, not never, that didn't make sense. Not deprivation, saying I can't ever have this, but I just try to stay away from them for the most part. So there's that. So we'll just go ahead and use these because those are Caden's favorite. And I'm going to show you something else that usually causes harm. And so a lot of people will just go ahead and take their knife to the bag, which I'm one of those people, and it's not a good idea. But what I would do is I would press the air up here, knowing I have a sharp knife. It's you know, not that bad of an idea. Yeah, it is, but I know that it's sharp. If it's dull, you're probably in big trouble if anything slips whatsoever. Or you could just do what you know you should, which is rarely an occasion for me. I don't like to be told what to do. If you know me, you know what I mean. If you don't, you'll get to know. One of those, I was told in when I worked in the corporate environment that I was in a long time ago, we did one of those team builder things, and it was called color palette. And so everyone did I can talk and walk at the same time. Everyone did filled out a test, and then from that test, you were told what color you were. And it was red, blue, yellow, and green. And so the majority of our team were in the green and yellow, which is where they were supposed to be. Meaning they followed rules and an ideal candidate for climbing the corporate ladder type of thing. Which is great, you know. They work hard, don't get me wrong. However, I was the only red, and the red, I was the dunce cap wearer that day, and we are not fond of rules, don't follow them, we break them, but we also become presidents of the United States, small business owners, and entrepreneurs and so forth. So it made sense for me not to stay there any longer. And so when my then boss gave me they called it an EPR, employee performance review, and asked me where I saw myself in 5 years, I proclaimed, not here. And I had started my own business within the next 2 years. So, you know, chase after your dreams. Don't be afraid of what everyone says, because I was told if I were to leave that place, I would never be able to come back and whatnot. And I sweat it for quite a while, but then I learned, you know what? You are the one that is in charge of your own destiny and success, whatever that means to you. So don't listen to what other people say about that. You know, for what they say about you is none of your business is one of my favorite quotes. And anything is doable. And I'm proving it to you right now by even just simply having this. This is going to tip over. But simply by having, you know, some guacamole and chips made today has put me over the edge of a mountaintop that I have been struggling so long to get to. And am I getting paid for this? No. But I tell you what, not now anyway, but I tell you what, I am fulfilled because I made it. No one thought I would make it. No one thought I would do it. No one thought, etc. And certainly no one thought I would be here and to do this, because I was scientifically should have taken a dirt nap a long time ago, like I said, with all my health issues and so forth. So once again, prove them wrong, break the rules, do your thing. And so sky's the limit from this point forward, and I really hope you'll come along for what's my journey and show you my crazy life and all the ups and downs and rebounds is what I call it, ups, downs, and rebounds, because I always come back for more. I refuse to quit. So I thank you for coming along on this journey with me, and to all of those that have been there for me through thick and thin, friends, family, previous customers at A. Renee, my restaurant. You know, I will always be forever grateful to you. And I thank you for helping me find it within me to get to this point. I hope you all have an amazing holiday weekend. Be safe out there. And until the next time, you have a wonderful day and keep it real.